Even though we don't know why Arnold proposed to Rishi, I've always loved how he lets her do everything she wants. And in the manga, he looks like this while she does the most random thing ever. Chapter 33 starts with Rishi's fourth life as a maid in the kingdom of Domana, where she gets referred to Duke Jonal for his stubborn daughter. At that time, a past illness had left her father partially paralyzed, and because no one could handle his daughter, all the other maids kept their distance, so she started working for them a year and a half from now. Back in the present, Duke Jonal arrives and apologizes for his daughter's behavior. She notices that he isn't using his cane, which means that his illness hasn't taken him just yet. He asks his daughter to let go of Rishi, but she refuses, saying that she hates her father because he doesn't listen to what she wants and always scolds her, shouting that she's only bothering them because he's being a meanie. Here in the manga, Arnold just watches them. However, in the novel, he scowls, and she notices him. He was about to make a move, but she signals with her eyes for him to stop. Then she looked down at Millia, asking her to look at what she was doing. She didn't want to hear anything, believing that she would also take her father's side. But instead, Rishi took out a handkerchief, balled it up in her right hand, put that fist on top of her left hand, then gave it a little tap. When she opened her hands again, the handkerchief had completely vanished, and in its place was a tiny stuffed teddy bear. A buzz went through the watching servants and knights, but Millia, who had been watching up close, was the most surprised of all. She excitedly called it magic with her sparkling eyes, but Rishi told her that it was just some sleight of hand. Then she introduced herself and gave her the teddy bear to commemorate their meeting. Her father, who was watching all this, was surprised as well, because he had never expected his daughter to act so calmly. Rishi knew that Millia was actually a good girl with a pure heart. When she used to serve them, she had spent a lot of time with her. They took walks in the forest and grew flowers together. She helped her through scary, stormy nights and spent many hours staying with her. And then when she turned 15, she saw her standing in a church as a happy bride. But that was the day Galkine attacked. She had been allowed to attend the wedding even though she was a maid, so she was able to help them escape. However, she did lose her life doing that. Getting back from the memories, she turns back to see Arnold, who was already looking at them, and wonders if he was there. The Duke introduces himself, and when his eyes flicker toward the crest on their carriage, he asks if they are from Galkine. Arnold introduced himself, adding that he must be familiar with his father, the Emperor. Hearing that he is talking to a crown prince, Jonal gasped slightly. He looked terrified, but he covered it up well and apologized for their impertinence once again, and Arnold said that it's okay if his wife permits it. Then, while the two men exchanged pleasantries, Rishi knelt and asked Millia why she was fighting with her father. The little girl explains that the white carriage looks childish and she feels embarrassed because she has been chosen as the stand-in for the late Royal Priestess in the upcoming festival. Rishi acts surprised even though she already knew. She also notes that the Royal Priestess is normally someone with goddess blood. They used to offer a prayer during the festival, but the line died out 22 years ago when the last priestess died in an accident, and that bloodline ended with her. The festival was not celebrated for a long time, and it just began again this year with Millia as a stand-in priestess. But Rishi didn't understand why she was being stubborn over the color of the carriage. That's when Millia expresses her frustration, saying that her father is stupid and that she could put a curse on him, saying that he doesn't believe her, but whoever she curses ends up dying. Rishi realizes that she has never seen this expression on Millia before. But before she could ask her more questions, a dark atmosphere crackles around them, and she suddenly shivers upon looking at Prince Arnold. She notices that he has the exact same look on his face that she remembers seeing on him 5 years from now. Millia, who hasn't noticed him scowling, thanks Rishi for the toy and rushes back to the carriage with her father. Just then, Arnold tells her that it is time to leave, and they depart as well. Inside the carriage, she stares at him without a word. He looks up from his papers, asking what it was, and she directly points out that he was scowling at Millia. He denies, saying that his expression wasn't different from usual, but she insists that he usually looks calmer. Hearing that he frowns again, so she asks if something was wrong, because she was not expecting this reaction from him. He replies that she's the only person who would say that about him, and she disagrees again. In the end, he sighs and admits that he just doesn't like children. Although she points out that his youngest sister is around the same age as Millia, he dismisses the comment as well, stating he neither cares nor remembers her. Then he says something that honestly tells us a lot about his character. He doesn't believe unconditional love exists just because people are related by blood. According to him, family ties don't determine whether two people actually get along. She internally muses that he is not talking about his sister, but rather about his own father, and admits that she herself never got along with her own parents. The conversation ended, but she kept staring at him, so he asked her if there was anything else. Then she confronted him about trying to figure out her trick. He already figured it out, as he couldn't help himself because her left hand was moving suspiciously. She defended her trick by saying that he was supposed to be focused on her right hand, thinking that at least he could pretend not to notice. While he was more interested in the fact that she came prepared with a hidden toy up her sleeve, she wanted to look away, but she gathered her courage and boldly said that she had the trick prepared to show him while they were on the road. He looked at her with amusement, asking if she had actually planned to give the teddy bear to him. Embarrassed, she admits that she had because she thought something fluffy might help him relax. On that, he laughs, and since she didn't want him to suspect her, she quickly backtracks, saying that she had actually intended to show the trick to the children at the Grand Basilica, where they will be staying for a few days. She has to find the information that can stop the war before she finishes annulling the engagement. They reach the church and he helps her out of the carriage. Then suddenly they saw a young boy toppling off a horse to the ground. The guards rushed over to him asking what the matter was, but he was so out of breath that he couldn't speak. Noticing the crest of the Jonal family, she wanted to rush over as well, but Arnold held her wrist. They asked him to take it easy and speak slowly. He clenched his chest, and even after some breaths, all he could do was ask for help regarding the Duke. As the other guards rushed to assist him as well, Rishi turned to Arnold, telling him that she can help. So he let go of her wrist, but before she could act, he himself went to the boy. The guards told him to stay back, but he ignored them, walked over to the boy, knelt beside him, and instructed him to nod or shake his head to answer questions if he could not speak. He asked if something happened to Duke Jonal. The boy nodded in response, and Rishi felt her heart throb with anxiety. When asked if the Duke is dead or if his life is in danger, the boy shakes his head as no. Arnold then asks if his daughter is safe. He nods yes. Rishi felt herself relax. Then she noticed that the boy reminded her of Leo from her 6th life as a knight. The guards gave him water, and she wonders why he's working for the Jonal family and what had happened. After calming down, he explains that the wheels on the carriage suddenly came off, and the horses along with the carriage slid down a valley, though Duke Jonal had grabbed Millia and jumped out of the carriage in time. Hearing that, Rishi suddenly remembered what Millia said about the white carriage and the curse. She was visibly shaken as she wondered what in the world was going on, because literally none of this had happened in her previous life. Now, this is where the chapter ends, and just in case you've forgotten Rishi's previous lives, here's the order. We have seen her be a merchant, apothecary, and an alchemist. Right now, we are getting to know about her life as a maid, and she has seen this boy in her 6th life as a knight as well. However, at that timeline, he was in a terrible state, and we'll get to know about it in the next chapter. For now, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for listening to me. Take care of yourself and goodbye.
If you're sticking by my side, maybe we could be okay. Okay, maybe you could be the change.